Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our draft live stream. I apologize in advance for the quality, but because of my shitty internet connection, and now you know why I never do live streams, we are bringing you our streams to see the formation of the teams for SUNTZU Invitational II. So let's take a look at our captains. On the team, Silver Shield Swordsman, we've got Hixux. We've got on the team Royal Peltas, Bastard. Retardius Gladiators. I know I'm pronouncing it wrong. Magic. Amazon Warriors. Aren't Amazons like legendary? Isn't it like a legend, not a real thing? Whatever. Dexterous, Myrmidons, Emboram, Sacred Band, Jucker, Lesbos Archers, Shitpants, Iberian Slingers, Mongoose. So as you can see, all of our team captains are members, highly regarded members of the SUNTZU clan, and they are going to be drafting their teams. I really like this tournament, the way it is set up, that you do not need to bring your own team. As such, you can just jump in, be drafted, and you will have semi-capable captains being able to play it. I'm just joking. All of our captains are pretty capable. And we already have started. We have got Magic, who drafted Pardonon, one of the best light cavalry players in the game right now. Just really like how this guy utilizes his cavalry. Oh, and Bastard drafted Pelazgos. He is the clan leader of Sons of Zeus, one of the best archer players ever. But he has also been diversifying, so he might play something surprising. As such, we will see how that one goes. Looking at, we've got around 75 people to draft, so we are going to have a lot of subs. What do you guys think? Enosh, Shlomi, what do you guys think so far?
Yeah, that is an interesting opportunity for exactly the people that can don't have their own team and want to sniff into a competitive play.
Absolutely.
Challenge.
Absolutely. You know what this reminds me of? Like recently, I've been getting into Magic the Gathering, and there, while you do play one-on-one, that sense of community is still there because you can just jump in, get into a team, doesn't matter, and you can just jump right into the game. So we're kind of doing that. I'm quite enjoying that. And then Boram drafted the Prussian Prince, the famous streamer of Total War. Sacred Band, Jacker drafted Buxity. And one of the important things, Mongoose drafted Elephant God. One of the important things in this pickups on these drafts is the balance of the team. They need to pick the people who will complement their team, who are playing the right components in order to have a strong and a flexible team, because that's oftentimes more important than having good players is having balanced players who can adapt to the given situation. So looks like outside of Hixux and Dexteros, we have our captains who have already picked their first players. Let's take a look. Spanats is spelled Osaka 04. I don't know who that is. Elephant God. I played with him a few times. He's a pretty decent player. Oh, Hixux picked Excred. I don't remember what he played, but I believe he played Slingers. Regardless, our captains have took a lot of time to research these players. They know their stats. They know what units they're playing. They probably already have some of the picks in their minds. As such, that is why we're proceeding so fast. But yeah, talking more about, and Dexter's picked Morhun. I believe he was a Javelin player. He was in SUNTZU Invitational 1. And Dexter's picks the first one, Amon's Fadi. I don't know who that is. So they're removing them from the draft list. Excred also removed. So we are kind of, placing the people into the teams.
I think it's very interesting, the thought process. If a player picks someone who's very experienced with one unit or two units, one or two commanders, or just basically starts picking people who have a really bright palette of units and commanders they can play, because the one will give you experience, the other one will give you flexibility. And
yeah, we already know who will win the tournament. Sorry guys that I interrupt you. Hixak will win this tournament.
Oh, why do you think that?
He picked me.
Oh. Oh, right. Well, at least now we know who will lose, so there is that. So now
The
that
question
we
is, are you
now
willing
that
to bet on
we
it?
now that we have only seven teams left, and then I'm just wondering who is gonna be the poor bastard who goes into the Silver Shield Swordsman. I'm still gonna be bullying you for that. But going back to our picks, captains are picking pretty fast. I am quite enjoying this process. It looks like all of our captains already had their picks in mind, and they do know most of these people. I mean, the community is fairly large, but the people they have been playing a lot. They've got, unlike myself, a lot of our captains have been playing with lots and lots of people and have been keeping track of them. Personally, I don't do that. I just want to focus on myself, on improving my own game rather than the next. But if you want to be a team captain in a draft, then you have to know the players, the opposition, and everything. That's partially.
You can also grow very, very good along a strengths player, a very strong player. That helps also a lot. You can see stuff or get hints. That's the way I did, for example.
Could be. Let's see. The teams are filling up. A lot of these people, I honestly do not know them. I mean, there are a lot of people from the SUNTZU clan. Not all of the members, but a lot of interesting people that I do not even know about. So maybe we do have a lot of new players, but you never know. I mean, a lot of new players can also perform very well, and it honestly doesn't matter what their individual skills are, as long as they're able to receive and execute the commands that they are given very well. And for that, in my opinion, you just need to be an average player. If you can play at tier 10 with, average results, you should, and if you can follow basic instructions, you should be all good. At least enough to kind of fulfill your end of the bargain, and then the good players in your team can carry. Because as far as I can see, everybody in their team picked carriers. All of these captains, I would say, are good enough to carry a team. And they do have a few other people who can carry. Now, I do have one concern though. The people that I'm mentioning that can carry can also cause a bit of friction with the captain, and they can question the orders. But that is up to the captains to impose their own leadership. But we will see.
For one thing, this tournament will be a great platform to showcase the talents of little-known players. But as you pointed out, it's hard to say what will be the shot calling like in such basically random teams who haven't played a lot of time with each other. That could cause some friction, but could be very interesting to see how different flanks on a map will coordinate.
You're absolutely right, and you do make a great point, and a point so great that is in great favor of organizing more and more of these teams, because these kinds of tournaments allow for new players to show themselves. If you guys have seen any of my interviews with the clans, they honestly do not care about your record. What they do care about is your constant performance and how well you can perform under pressure in a tournament setting. And this is exactly the place to show yourself to the competitive community. After all, this game is built with PvP in mind, with esports in mind. I mean, that's the constant point that I'm told by the developers that is where the game is going. As such, being able to show your skills in a tournament setting without requiring a community, without requiring an insider man. So these tournaments like these serve that purpose perfectly. So this helps you break this ceiling, and this is going to be the first, hopefully the first of many tournaments of this sort we are going to see, and this is going to be the place where the unknown players will be able to make a name for themselves.
Even the known players breaking the seal is a good call.
Yeah.
For example, we have existing teams like the Pause Read guys, Buxity, Kozam, and they know each other for ages. They know how they play together and have thousands of games together. Now they have to play in different teams, and obviously somehow against each other. That will be nice and very interesting.
Let's see. Looking at the teams, I want to say they're fairly balanced. Mongoose is getting a pretty good deal, in my opinion, in his picks. I mean, at least I've played a lot with Mongoose, and the people that he's playing, I played a lot with them, so I can say they're can at least definitely carry their weight. Spanats, he is picking very good players. Outside of Osaka, I've played with the rest of them, and definitely a very strong team that he is building.
Yeah.
I can see a lot of infantry in that build. In Boram,
Dexterous team, very good picks.
let's see. Oh, absolutely, you're absolutely right. I see a very balanced and a diverse team. I mean, I know MGN plays infantry, Morhun plays Caesar javelins, and despite our trainings, because where we have a lot of, surprisingly, a lot of Caesar javs. Actually, in total, we've got like 3 Caesar javs players, and Morhun is one of that 3. As such, taking them in a team is going to be very important, especially in a 7v7 game like this. The more players there are, the more support players are going to show themselves. So that is going to be a big addition. I'm going to be honest with you, I am not liking Boram's team. I believe SUNTZU is picking them himself. I don't know, most of those people, Prussian Prince's performance in the last tournament he participated was okay, but it wasn't anything to really write home about. I'm sorry, Prince. I know that I knew the guy, but I just have to be honest. Let's see, Magic also has got a pretty decent team on his hands. I mean, that's nothing to scoff at. He's got Parthenon, MCM, Shlomi, Distoni TV. I've played with him just a few times. I think it was okay. But yeah, all of the teams are fairly balanced. They're kind of picking those big names first, and then seeing what they can do with the rest. What do you guys think so far? Yeah. Looking at
They are very strong teams. Very, very, very strong teams.
Yeah.
From the players I know. Of course, they offer even the older players or offer a variety of other things they could also play. Huh? So
Yeah.
maybe adapt or do some special changes for a special map. There's a lot of things going on and can be go on.
Absolutely, absolutely. This goes double for skirmisher players. After all, a person who specializes in slingers will not be able to perform well on certain maps such as Gregovia or Capua, where there is a lot of cover. So they do need to have expertise in archers as well. So that is going to be important, pretty important to have at least one one alt character. I mean, that's what I always suggest to people. Sometimes people come to me, in PMs, in comments, and asking me, "Hey, Ark, what do you think I should main?" I even made a special video about that. That's how many times I got asked. And I always tell them the same thing. Play the style that you want to play. Pick a commander that fits your style. And then pick a commander that you will have fun with playing, like an alt commander. Always have a different commander. So that way, when you really need to, you will be ready to switch, and you will also know how that commander plays. After all, by playing that commander, you will also get a sense for their weaknesses as well. For example, a lot of people think when you're playing against a Germanicus, Germanicus is the easiest to play commander, but a lot of people forget he is also one of the most difficult ones to master. I mean, there is that juke move against skirmishers where when you're being shot at from two sides, you can juke with your testudo and receive no damage from both sides. So those kinds of moves are really advanced, and you can make a lot of good plays with them. So it's having played those commanders gives you a hand up, in my opinion, in a lot of matchups. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I want to point something out on the aspect of specialization.
Yeah.
Right now, the draft will be heavily focused around getting good, strong players on their respective roles.
Yeah.
But as the pool gets smaller, we will see picks where players will have to pick someone who fills a certain role that's not represented very much. And this will also be very interesting for the research the teams will do before they're facing their enemies, because you can look up where the enemy team excels at and what it's not good in. And having this specialized team will be very susceptible to research from their opponents.
Correct. You're absolutely right. The more things you can play, the harder it is for people to determine what is it that you're going to be playing. And that does point towards a strategy in all of these picks, which is first you pick the best players that you can, and then you pick the adaptable players who will be able to adapt to the strengths of the other players. I also would like to talk about specifically about some of the players. Grandy over here is actually my old coach. From my old clan, one of the nicest guys you can ever meet. Like, that guy, he has no confidence in his own skills, even though he is actually pretty skilled. He is the nicest guy you can ever have in your team, I'm telling you. So the Dextros will at least have that advantage, that morale advantage will come in handy. I mean, I've seen at least a few times where the team fell apart because of conflicting orders coming from different heads of the team. That's actually why we have been picking specific captains to have the last word in the team. So that way you can at least point out, when things go bad, you can at least point out to a person where things went bad, as in addition to having the last word in a crisis scenario. So looks like we have picked our biggest picks so far, and the rest of them I honestly have no idea who those are. And looking at the slowdowns in the picks, I will have to assume that people have picked their main teams and they are just picking the rest of them. So what do you guys think about the picks so far? I think they're pretty balanced.
Well, except that I'm in one of the teams, I have some favorites already. I have to assume, yeah. And that is, of course, my team, and unfortunately also others. I still go with Dexterous picks and JKP, very, very strong teams. That will be a challenge to beat them.
Enosh, I have a question. Why are all Caesar Jabs players such dicks?
Oh, I have no clue. I'm a dedicated light arty player, which is an ex-light arty player at the moment because a light arty is broken.
I don't know, man. I've been using it. It's pretty good for strategic reasons.
Light arty.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay, but it's bugged. That's the reason light arty is.
What is the bug?
Ooh, it's some hard to describe. It's not running smooth. If you give fast commands, always one unit is not getting the command. You have problems building up. You have problems building up stakes. Sometimes you have to confirm the build up.
Oh, yes, I know exactly what you're talking about. Anybody who has played artillery, especially fast with a fast macro, I know exactly what you're talking. I was suspecting that was a bug. I was thinking maybe I'm doing something wrong, but yeah, good to know that it's a bug. Yeah, you're definitely right.
I'm playing light arty very, very much, and after the last big patch where they changed the pinging system, I think it has something to do with that. Light arty is, well, at least tier 10 light arty, I don't play anything else, is very bugged. It's unplayable. It takes more time to build up. You have to be focused, and if you know, I play 3 light arties without any defense. You have to be on your toes. You don't have the time to take care on building up and all this stuff. So
you're absolutely right. It's definitely a chore, especially when you're playing 3 artillery. It just gets stuck. Like, oftentimes I build 2 of them, and then the third one is just staring. It shows that it's in process of building, but the timer never starts. So I have to re-give the order, and I just don't have the time.
Yeah, that's one of the minor bugs. Sometimes it doesn't even take the command. You try to hit your mouse button to confirm, build up, and nothing happens. You have to move position or something. I just talked to Sasha JP yesterday and asked her if the devs are aware about this bug. They are. So let's cross our fingers and hope they fix it soon, because I really can't stand without Light RT. I want to play it again.
I absolutely agree. I completely agree with you there. It's very difficult to play it as it is. I mean, they did nerf its damage, which I think is very welcome. And the way it performs, thanks to the game's mechanics, against Skirmisher is great. I love its tactical utility, but as long as those bugs remain, I don't think we're going to be seeing any light artillery anytime soon. I mean, I was trying to learn light artillery. It just sucks.
I love it. I start playing it because of the sound. And then I figured out it's pretty useful. I don't understand why people complaining that much about Light RT. Maybe we have too much Roman players. That's of course their counter. They have a hard time to get out of your range of fire if they once get stopped by the shots. But there are so many other units, for example, which don't care if they shoot on you. The barbarians, which don't have formations, they just charge through your stakes and kill you. Even a single tier 9 spear player with Milty, you can't stop that. Even with 3 arties versus 1 unit, you won't stop that. He will reach you and he will kill you. Of course, you can build down and run, but that's not the matter of rate of fire and damage. I didn't understand the complaining that much. And I think 25% damage nerf over the rate of fire is a little bit too much. Maybe on tier 10 it's okay because they have a very, very, very fast rate of fire, but the minor tiers, they suffer a lot.
Yeah, artillery is in no way overpowered, but I guess for most people it's just frustrating to play against. It's ranged, and you can't attack it back at first, and secondly, the slowdown just kind of feels really bad, and that's why people get frustrated playing against artillery, especially light artillery, since it has a high rate of fire, and yeah, that's the main problem for most players playing against it.
I think the biggest arguments against the light artillery is that its randomness. Is that rate of fire has been nerfed, and it has improved, like feeling wise. Back then, before you could even react, you would lose, as heavy infantry, you would lose at least 40% of your men before you could even get out of the firing line, before you could even do anything. So that was a little ridiculous. So I'm glad that they have nerfed that. Its rate of fire, especially when you've got 3, is pretty bad. I should admit that I haven't played as tier 10 light artillery. I did hear its rate of fire is very high, but the current fixes, especially at tier 8, I feel like it is quite balanced. My biggest gripe with light artillery is that its randomness, which is sometimes you shoot at a skirmisher, kills maybe 2 men, barely noticeable. Sometimes it hits them so hard that 1 bolt can cause nuke damage, like more than 15% of the health gone. So that is pretty random, especially when that random bolt is your first shot. So yeah, that does quite a bit of frustration.
Yeah, of course I see that from the point of view of a light arty player. If a unit is spreaded, then there's a random pick of a target, of course.
Yeah.
And if this unit isn't in the center, or something like at the edge, and maybe it's a straggler or something, you have these 3 bolts going for one of them, and yeah, that's wasted defense.
Yes.
Or if you have units in melee to each other. Sometimes they mix up like a crowd, but sometimes they have like a frontier barrier. There's a clear front next to them. And what does the light arty shoots in the middle where you hit also your own teammates? Yeah.
Yeah, the unit AI can definitely use some improvement in that area. But as we are talking about it, the teams are getting filled. Right now we have got 3, 6, 9 players. So the rest of the players are kind of like substitutes. And let's be honest for a second. A lot of these people are not going to show up for the tournament. I mean, yeah, that's usually what happens. That's the problem with humans, is that they're unreliable.
And that's what's good about the format of the tournament. It allows a high pool of substitutes.
That is true.
Thus, teams can play even if a handful of players doesn't show up, and I think that's a very smart move, because we are not in a competitive environment. People don't get paid to play, and yeah, you
Not yet.
take that into account.
I mean, you don't get paid.
Both are not get paid. Of course I get paid. I get paid for casting here and all this stuff. Well, probably I shouldn't have mentioned that. No, I'm kidding. I'm paying for playing.
Wait, you are? Okay. I mean, I am getting paid from the ad revenue, but it's like $6. Like, it's not worth my time, but you know, it's fun. And other than that,
depends on the point of view.
That's true. I mean, if you're in China, $6 a month for something you're gonna be doing anyway, that's pretty decent money.
Or if you would ask your boss, he would probably disagree that it's not worth your time. Well, let's see. Are there still players in the pool which I know?
Same thing with me. Let's see.
But I only know this guy from I played versus him, or sometimes with him, but not in the team, just random.
So let's gossip a little bit. Asalto, I saw him around, but I don't remember anything about him. How good of a player is he?
Is that a serious question?
Yes, because I remember hearing his name, but I don't remember hearing it was it in a good way or a bad way? I honestly don't remember. As you can imagine, I don't pay attention much.
I don't want to talk smack about participants.
That's why we are here!
But I've seen some videos and they seemed not too impressive.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know.
To be honest, I was in a game today with him and he was MVP. So
yeah.
I mean, with the point system today, that doesn't say much.
Yeah,
I mean, you can carry the game. You can carry the game and still be like in one of the bottom third.
Yeah, and if someone picks out a game where you played blacked out drunk, well, you will always look bad.
And not just that, I mean, you should be familiar with it. With light artillery, you can control the entire battlefield, at least half the battlefield, and not get any points for it.
If you watch the comments on the right side, a lot of people seems to know Acialto.
Oh.
At least better than I do. Yeah, I guess it must be a Reddit thing or something. I didn't pay that much attention on what he's doing and why he's so much polarizing.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I mean, speaking for myself, I don't even track how people talk about me. I just don't have the time. That's one of the cool things. That's one of the things that arise when you become a really good player. Like, it adds a new dimension to the things, that your reputation kind of follows you. And if you get caught up in that too much, or if you get caught up even a little, that can be very bad on your performance. As the narrator from Darkest Dungeon says, overconfidence. Remind yourself that overconfidence is a slow and insidious killer. I can't do his voice. Because
I
my
go along
own...
with Bruce Lee.
Oh, what does he say?
Be water, my friend. Be water.
Oh, I know that quote. But it's not about overconfidence, though, is it?
No, it's about adapting. That water can be flush and can be
exactly.
Can be hard.
But, yeah, what I am talking about.
Yes, you can adapt.
Yeah. I agree with that. The thing what I'm talking about is, as you know, as these tournaments develop in any professional environment, people build reputation, and sometimes that gets into their heads, and they think they're great while they're actually making mistakes they shouldn't be making, and they refuse to acknowledge those. That's at the very least of things that happen when that ego starts getting to them. Although, I mean, it's a small game. You can always say, I mean, it's a small game. Who cares if you're a big fish in a small pond? But you need to look at the future. I mean, the way I look at it, in maybe a year down the line, this is gonna be a whole different play game. I mean, looking at the current numbers, the trend is growing. That the game is growing. It's not even out yet, but I think it's got great potential for esports. I mean, it's got great potential for esports, that's for certain. The question is, how is wargaming and creative assembly going to exploit it? I mean, it could become a new... the way I'm seeing it could be, its status could be a mix between World of Tanks and Smite, which are both, you know, pretty big esports games.
Yeah, I used to play World of Tanks, but I quit.
And why did you quit? Is it the premium ammo?
No, you can, as long as you can buy them also with in-game silver, for example, then I have no problem with that. Why did I quit? I was an average player, so nothing big, but there were some things I couldn't. They were not reasonable. So if I shoot someone and one time I hit him from the same angle, and then if it's a Versa player, I can't penetrate him. There were things I couldn't. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I know what you mean. Yeah, it's seemingly random mechanics. Yeah.
You see. Sometimes this boxing.
Yeah.
You see one of these guys punching the one all the time, and for you it's obvious who will win. And after the fight, the umpires or the referees decide the other person was the winner, and so you see, what happened? I don't like things which I couldn't judge on my.
I think I see what you mean. Yeah, there's a bit of like obfuscation of information going on. Yeah, I like that, and I think that's a criteria for any serious esports game, that all the information needs to be available to the players. The more information is available to the players, the better, and the randomness should be minimal. I mean, there can be a little bit of randomness, like in a lot of professional games such as Hearthstone, Gwent, Magic the Gathering. There is randomness in the game, but that is mitigated through a lot of methods. That way, randomness becomes one of the interesting parts of the game. But in the games like these, in games like Total War Arena or World of Tanks, it just does not work. So I see what you mean over there, and I agree with you.
If I want randomness, I throw dice.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's the point. If you just look at the big games in the genre, let's just say Total War Arena is somewhere in between strategy and MOBA. And if you look at a game like League of Legends, the randomness is limited to critical hits alone. That's all the randomness you get, basically.
Yeah.
And those are not a very big factor, and that's okay. But if the game feels like something else is happening than what you're seeing, that's a really bad omen for the player base. Yeah,
that's just a bad non-professional design. I mean, it could be fun. Like, for example, I'm not gonna say Darkest Dungeon, XCOM. Because fuck Darkest Dungeon and its RNG. I love the game, but man, that RNG. XCOM, for example. When you're playing solo, you can live with it, because there are ways to mitigate that. You can improve yourself. You can have plan Bs and Cs. That's what the game is about, is having plan Bs and Cs, but it only works in a solo environment. When you're playing in a professional environment, when everything is supposed to be equal, when that luck factor is just not equal, it just doesn't work. In fact, the way that Hearthstone and Magic the Gathering mitigates this, I love the way it mitigates this. The way I'm more familiar with Magic the Gathering, the way it mitigates this is two ways. Actually, three ways. First off, if your first hand, the first hand you draw, the first 7 cards you draw, if they're not good, you can discard your hand, draw -1, and then look at your next card, and you have the option to either leave it there or put it at the bottom of your deck. See, that way you are not a prisoner of your luck of your initial draw. That way it becomes a more strategic decision. It's completely up to you. So that reduces the chance that you're going to have a bad hand. But the biggest factor, in my opinion, is a mathematical principle called the law of small numbers. Or was it the law of large numbers? I think it was large numbers. But anyway, it's a mathematical principle where I believe that was actually René Descartes was the one who came up with it, but I'm not sure about the name, don't quote me on that, is that when you roll the dice enough, you will notice that it all averages to its mathematical criteria. If you roll a dice 10,000 times, you will see that it averages to those numbers. So the more you roll, the more predictable and mathematical it becomes. As such, that's why it is important. And in Magic the Gathering, what happens is you do not play with just one game. In order to win, you need to win a best of 3. And in addition, the third mechanic that they add in between games, you can use your sideboard to add cards that will counter your opponent's deck, allowing you to mitigate the other randomness, which is you encountered a deck that completely counters you. If you encounter something like that, go to your sideboard. You've got 15 cards in your sideboard, which is quarter of your deck to begin with. Replace those cards. Replace those cards with the cards that counter your opponent now, and boom, now you have mitigated that problem. Now, that's why these very complicated mechanics happen in those games. And here, thankfully, in Total War Arena, we do not have such a thing. So, it looks like majority of the players have been picked, and I'm really thankful that there is no such problem in Total War Arena, so I can definitely see why Total War Arena in this sense would be superior. Same thing with League of Legends or Dota 2. I mean, Dota 2 also has critical hits, but again, those are critical hits. Damn, I talk a lot, don't I?
Yeah, but it's interesting to listen.
At least I don't have to harass the people with my fucking English, so my crappy English, yeah.
Instead, they can hear to my crappy English.
Yeah.
That's all learning by doing.
Yeah. We could also welcome our German community. Herzlich willkommen, all Germans.
Das war Englisch. Herzlich willkommen, alle Deutschen. Schön, dass ihr hier beim Draft dabei seid und hoffentlich haben sich ein paar von euch eingeschrieben und habt ein gutes Turnier.
I'm already receiving text messages from other German players in my team.
Yeah. Oh, what are they saying?
SW Gänseblümchen. I was hanging around on that TeamSpeak. I was not a member of the clan, but was spending a lot of time on the TeamSpeak in the closed beta before I joined SUNTZU. And he just wrote, yeah, teamed up again. Reunion.
Indeed, indeed. Yeah, I really wanted to play in this tournament, but Miss True has convinced me that it would serve both of our interests better if I commentated instead. Man, I'm still gonna be complaining about it though. I am so disappointed, but oh well. Guess I'll have to play on the next tournament instead.
I'm speaking too much English. I just answered German guy in English.
Okay, let's point out we have 7 players left, but only 2 more spots in this round of picks. So either not all players will be picked, or not all teams will have the same amount of players and substitutes. So it's going to be interesting how this will pan out.
As you already mentioned, not every player will show up. There's something called real life, and that can fuck up all competitive
Here's
plans
what
you
I
have.
think. I think now that factor in real life. That's one of the reasons why I live as a hermit. Is that humanity disappoints me so many times. That's why I chose to live as a hermit. So the thing about real life is, it just literally goes to show you're not able to hold up to your promise that you're gonna be playing. That's literally it. Oh, I don't have the time. That's literally says I do not care enough to do this thing. That's why. Like, if somebody says, "Oh man, I just don't have the time." Like, for example, we want to hang out, and somebody is. I know they don't have any like particular plans or work. They says, "I don't have the time." That basically says, "I don't have the time for you. I don't care enough about what you're gonna be doing." So that's just the socially polite excuse that I am giving you. So that's exactly what people are doing. They're just have got something they like more. Because when you care about something, you will make the time. That's a mistake that a lot of people make. That they say, "Oh man, I just don't have the time to work out." No, you just do not care enough about working out that you can make the time. I mean, you can just drop the Netflix and hit the fucking gym.
Yeah, for sure. But sometimes that's not only
Oh, of course,
a
some
matter
emergencies
of
happen.
the moment.
Yeah.
It's a long-term thing. For example, if I would play every time I want to play and don't take care about the rest, I would probably lose my girlfriend. And maybe in the moment I would like to play and don't be with my girlfriend, but on long term I would rather stay with my girlfriend and also play. Yeah.
Then you know what you do? You get your girlfriend into the same things you're doing. That way you can score two birds with one stone.
Tell it her.
Well, you
Alright, I'm gonna
require.
check out SCL2 has been picked right
Yes.
now. By the
Yes,
Syracuse
I was.
Horsemen.
I was going to mention that. Well, good luck, Enosh. Good luck.
Well, at least you can give you more information about him, as you asked earlier. I will know him in person soon.
Yes, you can. As I said, I saw him around. I just don't know how well he plays. I mean, I hate gossiping, but that's what we are here for now, so yeah. But about the other players, I would say most of the team, it's pretty balanced. Like, I like Jacob's Cabarro is actually... here's the interesting thing. Here's one of the fascinating things that I find about Total War Arena and Total War in general. Total War is surprisingly a very popular series in Turkey. Like, when you think about, like, Turks are very specific gamers. They play, like, when a game becomes popular, it becomes insanely popular. Over there, like, everybody plays it. Dota, Lord of the Rings, Counter-Strike, what else? Night Online, things like that. They become tremendously popular. Similar thing, there are about two games that are a bit of outliers that are the people of higher society in Turkey are more interested in, which are Total War and Europa Universalis, because they're more historical games. But Turks love them. And Cabarro is actually one of the very few Turkish players, as far as I know, the only Turkish player in this tournament that is going to be participating. He's a quite good player. Back when I was in Sons of Zeus, he showed great performance. I do know he couldn't always participate. Like, he's a pretty busy guy, but he's a pretty good player, so I am quite surprised we have only one Turkish player so far. Within the community, at least as far as I know. So that's a pretty interesting pick. Now we've got Mistru getting bored and trying to pick between the two into those remaining two teams. But I'm glad we have an equal distribution of the players, and hopefully a lot of them are going to show up and we will be able to play in a full team. I mean, we remember what happened in the Rise of the Commander tournaments, that some people had to play 9 versus 10. I know I did, and they just couldn't win.
Yeah, the way it looks, every team will have 4 substitutes.
Yeah.
If I count correctly, no, 5 substitutes.
Very good, yeah. That
So
should
that
be enough.
gets us good hope.
Hello, what is happening here?
We were actually having a lot of fun, weren't we? You know, talking about the players, talking about the picks, a few other stuff. on how to get people's girlfriends into the game so that you can both play the game and hang out with your girlfriend, I would suggest looking into what's its name, classical conditioning. Yeah, it's called operant conditioning. So look into that. That way you might be able to get your girlfriends into whatever you're doing.
On topic as usual.
Of course.
So anything
We also had a lot of fun during the
Yes,
draft.
we actually noticed and we had a lot of fun talking about it. By the way, should we still be streaming?
Yeah. There were some good news.
Oh yeah.
So, any predictions, Arklin, on you as an independent party here? Like,
My prediction is this is gonna be a very good tournament. I've said it multiple times during the stream. I feel like main teams are very balanced, at least most of them. And Boram's teams looks like got the shortest end of the stick, but I don't see Boram around, so I guess that's why. While the rest of them, I see a very big names in a lot of the teams. So I think at the very least, I cannot tell who's gonna win, but I think we are in for a very good show.
Oh yeah, by the way, we still have to draft the teams, the groups actually. So we're gonna see which team is going to play with which team. So we are going to do this right now. I'll go to a random site. Site that randomizes numbers. And I'm gonna generate a set of 8 numbers. There it is: 6, 5, 8, 2, 3, 7, 4, 1. Which means, let me open the documents side by side. Which means that Myrmidons are going into Group A.
Yeah, boy.
Alongside with Lesbos Arches, led by Thanas. And Royal Peltasts, led by Bastid. And Amazon Warriors, led by Dexterus. And that means that Group B is Iberian Slingers, led by Mongoose. Retriarius Gladiators.
yes, fuck you
led
guys.
by Magic.
What?
You what, mate?
It's about you first.
Swordsman, led by Kixax. And Sacred Band, led by Jacques. So there we go. I'll repeat team groups once again, so that everyone knows.
By the way-
Group A is Myrmidons, Lesbos Archers, Royal Peltasts, and Amazon Warriors. Group B is Iberian Slingers, Retriarius Gladiators, Silver Shield Swordsmen, and Sacred Band.
Alright. Looks like it's gonna be quite interesting.
Yep. Well, now it's time for me to prepare everything. You, like everyone who's playing, should be on SUNTZU server. It's up to captains to organize their teams. Send me a list of your players so I can give them updated roles.
Someone's gonna have to unban Brinley.
Someone asked to call it the group.
He
In
is
the feed?
unbanned for like 1 week already.
What did he
Can you follow the
do?
groups in the spreadsheet?
A lot of
Sure, it
various things.
Sure, it doesn't need to be said on stream.
Yeah, I guess.
Let's keep this professional, guys, honestly.
That reminds me of that One
Who
joke.
cares? He's Hicksook's problem.
This reminds me of like a guy is trying to pick up a chick and you just walk up to the guy and go, "Hey Tony, how's your AIDS?" That's some grade A cock blocking right there.
Let's not go this far.
Nobody should have that kind of power.
Jesus. Thank you for watching. We're gonna organize something else.
All right.
So yeah.
In that case,
we'll post all the announcements in SUNTZU Discord soon. Well, if you haven't joined SUNTZU Discord, you really should now. You should be contacted by your team captains. Blah blah blah.
all right.
Basically, contact your team captain. That's the best idea.
Well, you heard Miss True. Contact your team captains, join the SUNTZU team, and we will see you next time. I hope you enjoyed it. And now you can all go to hell.